Hey everybody, it's Taylor Batory here from the Majestic Sailors Project, and I don't know how to talk in front of a camera. It's been a few years since our last update video, so I'm kind of taking some time to kind of bring you up to speed on where we're at and where we've been. It's taken quite a while to get to this point, and the evidence lies in all of our old Facebook posts. About halfway done writing our album. We record on Friday and possibly again on Thursday. Slow. I want this project to be over. Finally back in the saddle. Kinda. More than a year's progress and still not done. The Walrus is next. When all the songs are written, they won't be recorded for a long time. And here comes the footsteps. Take your shoes off or something, I don't know. I've begun recording the album on my own. Recording is at a halt. I'm finishing this album very soon. Recording is off to a slow start. I have to get back in the habit of recording stuff. I hope to have it done by the end of the year. The album will be finished by this fall. This summer, for real this time. I feel I can get the album done in a few months. I think it's only fair that I make the album deadline December 30th, 2016. I'm going to have to delay the album until March 2017. 2017 is the year the album is coming out. Oh, here come the footsteps again. Okay. Well, here we are at the end of 2017, and is the album done? No. Based upon all those old posts, you would probably assume that I'm a liar of sorts. I'm thinking about making an update video too. Well, maybe only partially a liar, I suppose. Despite all the fake promises and things like that of the album coming out at some point soon, it really has been kind of a long and arduous process for me to actually get to where I am now, because it takes a lot of time and a lot of energy, and I really wanted to make sure that I had a product that I felt did the material justice in terms of production and quality. Now, I'm not sure if many of you know this, but this project actually does date back quite a while, all the way back to 2010, I believe. And for those of you who may have liked the page on Facebook and don't really know the origins of the project, let me briefly kind of tell you about the background behind the Majestic Sailors. So back in 2010, I was a senior in high school, and as often seniors do, they go to their senior prom at the end of the year. My senior prom happened to take place on a boat, a gigantic yacht that the school had rented out for some reason. Anyway, me and a couple buddies got on the front of the boat, the bow as it's called, and we had our picture taken. This picture, right here. After we put it up on social media, a couple of people had joked around that it kind of looked like a fake album cover. So I believe me or Billy took it upon ourselves to make it into such. We added a title, did some filtering on it and stuff like that, and we had a pretty phony looking album cover. But after the fact, I looked at it and thought to myself, why does it have to stop there? Why should it be a joke album? Why not make it an actual album? I don't know. Because it's a stupid picture. I don't know. So me and Billy united, teamed up, and decided that we were going to write this album for this fake band that I guess is now a real band, sort of. Billy helped out with a lot of arranging and lyrical ideas pretty early on in the process, but it pretty quickly turned into a solo project from after we got the 5th song or so written. Billy's not a full-on musician like myself, so as the writing process kind of went on, it became a little bit harder and harder for him to contribute to the songs. That being said, he's still pretty, decently involved inside of this process of recording. I do consult him with mixes and some ideas for, how the production should sound every so often. So despite him not having, as much input on how the songs are written, I still ask for his advice on mixes and ideas for, what the production should sound like. Even with me and Billy both writing the album, the writing process very quickly grinded to a halt. The full album wasn't completely written until about late 2012. And even before then, I believe in the summer of 2011, we tried to record the songs that had been written at a studio here in Richmond But it quickly became obvious that that wasn't the right place for us to do it, just to put it plainly. So from there, the recording and writing process kind of like, got stuck in purgatory, to be honest with you. From here, the project was kind of mainly just at a standstill, and the main reason for that was just like a list of constant setbacks and obligations that kept me busy. 2010 is also when I started going to college full-time, and obviously that's going to take up pretty much my entire week, more or less. On top of that, I was also dealing with a bad case of self-doubt and loneliness. Maybe I can only attribute my loneliness to myself because I did tend to be a bit of a recluse during college, but even so, I was getting sapped of all my energy and motivation to work on writing and recording, and not to mention that school was just eating up all my time, pretty much. I didn't really have any energy to focus on anything else. Even on top of all this school stuff and self-doubt stuff, at the time I didn't really have a very good recording setup either. I was still working on the family computer with no studio monitors or any real audio equipment at all, really. Now, I'm not trying to make excuses. People can make great recordings on less than great equipment. However, I would say that my recording setup was uncomfortable enough to the point where I didn't really feel like working on my own recordings. So why am I telling you all of this? Honestly, I don't know. It's probably to calm my own conscience more than anything else, simply because it's taking so long to finish this album. I want to try and find ways to justify why it's taken me forever to do it. It's basically like the Chinese democracy of independent unknown albums. But I just want to assure you and me that this album is being finished and it will be out sometime soon. When that will be, I'm not quite sure, but soon. For me, I'm kind of using this material as a means of practicing and honing my production and mixing skills, because I've never, ever recorded and mixed something on this scale before. However, I do believe that all of these new recordings are the best iterations of all the songs so far. And I just want to kind of put this out there, if not only to kind of reiterate it, but also, again, maybe just more justification for why it's taken so long for this project to happen. I am literally the one and only person who has worked on recording this album, outside of my vocalist, Anna Armstrong. There have been a couple of guest vocalists, including Billy, as well as a couple of my other friends. But as far as like the main crux of recording and producing and mixing this album, I am the only person who has been working on this. So not only did I arguably write pretty much the entire album, but I also had to relearn all of the guitar and bass parts, record all of them, program all of my MIDI instruments, provide Anna with sheet music and MIDI tracks for her to rehearse to, and I also finalized all of my own personal scores for copyright purposes. All that combined makes for one extremely large process for one person to undertake, and I understand that some musicians out there manage to do this sort of thing in a couple of months, but I'm just one guy, and it's not my full-time job to be working on music, although I really wish I could find a job doing this. It'd be pretty fun. Wah. Stop making excuses, you fraud, I hear you say. And sure, some of those things might be excuses, of course, but to make it up to you, I am announcing a couple of things that I'll be putting out before the album finally comes out. Firstly, I'm going to release an album teaser video just before the album comes out. I'm still a few months out from having the album completely finished, but I'd rather have the teaser video come out right before the album. That way the product feels pretty tangible and pretty real, even when you're watching the teaser video. Secondly, in conjunction with the teaser video, I'd like to release a guitar playthrough of one of the songs from the album. I'm still not sure which song that's going to be. I'd like to pick one that's pretty definitive of the overall sound of the album, but I'll figure that out closer to when I actually start making the video. A couple of other last minute things just to kind of put out there so you're aware. I'd like to very much do some physical pressings of the album when it finally comes out, mainly just CDs. I'd like to get one for myself personally to be able to put it in a frame and hang it up on the wall or something like that. However, I'm pretty sure when you go to get CDs pressed, you can't just get one made. You have to do them in bulk, I imagine. So if anybody else would be interested in a physical CD of the album upon its release, please let me know. Either comment below or send me a private message or something like that. And I'll mark your name and I'll take a tally. If I get enough people interested and willing to purchase them, I will look into getting some physical pressings made. Otherwise, it'll be exclusively digital. It'll be available on like iTunes and Amazon and whatever other music platforms you can buy music on and stuff. Lastly, and this should go without saying, but I have no intention of playing any of this music in a live setting. I remember in one of our old update videos we said, yeah, and hopefully we'll be able to book a concert up at the Odd. I have the sheet for it right here. But it's extremely unlikely that any of this material will ever be played in a live setting, at least by me. I'd be super into the idea of playing this album front to back for a live audience, but trying to put a band together to play this material is not something I'm really interested in putting a lot of effort into right now. Anyways, I think I've gone on long enough, but hopefully this kind of sheds some light on the past few years of the Majestic Sailors project. It's still happening, I assure you. It's just a matter of time as to when the album will finally come out. I never thought that the album would have taken this long to make, but it's purely been a passion project ever since the beginning. And I'm very happy to finally be putting in the time to make sure that this album comes out in a way that I can look back on and feel proud of. With all that said, thank you very much for watching. Keep an eye out for more updates real soon, and with any luck, the album will be in your ears sooner rather than later. This has been Taylor Vittori of TB Audio and the Majestic Sailors. Peace out, and keep it real.